Oop, and we just got a notice. Oh, okay. That's not helping. All right, we're doing without the light. Hey, everybody. So we're live. Oh, that's the beauty of live. It's not perfect. So I'm Heather McManus from Collaborate to Win, and this is my Drapery Workroom.
I'm Robin from Seems So Right.
And I found Robin, I think I was thinking about it on the way over here. It was through the Window Covering Association.
Yep, we sat next to each other at an open house.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And comes to find out that she lives in my town. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing, because I can run over to her studio, which we're in right now, and say, you know, let's put this flower as the main, you know, motif, and that's, you know, that's where we should cut it. So it's been kind of amazing to have her be so close. So we are going to show you some things today. I'm going to let Robin kind of go through what she's working on right now, which is some cushions. And she's got a bunch of other projects here that are like completed and ready to go. And we're just going to share as much as possible in the time frame. So I'm going to flip the camera around so that it's easier. There we go. All right.
So right now I am working on cushions.
Okay.
There are 3 cushions. They're long. They're 80
Here,
inches.
I'll show you. So did the client bring these to you? Is this
It's actually for
another designer?
workroom.
Another workroom. Oh, okay. So that's different. Are they just so busy? So these are the cushions that she has to remake.
To do cushions.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, I don't like to do kitchens, so I get it.
So sometimes I'll do cornices, you know.
Okay.
But I never post it on Facebook because it's theirs. But
Okay.
anyway, here we are live. Out of the bag.
But we won't mention names, so it's
Never.
cool.
So this is 3 long cushions going on one banquette.
Mhm.
You can see it's a very dizzying pattern. And I had to make sure that each cushion continues the pattern along the
Yeah,
banquette.
so here, let me come around this side. And here she's done some zippers. So this is the back of the cushion?
That's the back of the
That's
cushion.
the book. Okay.
Yep.
And
Which
so
I will also pattern match to the back of the
right. So
itself.
so the zigzags all will line up.
Yes.
So
And
okay.
then once I put the boxing on, that also
What's
will be-
boxing?
that's the front of the cushion.
Okay, the box part.
Yep.
Okay.
This
Yep.
that part.
Got it. Yep.
And so once I put that on, that is going to continue the pattern also down the front of the cushion.
Mhm.
It won't match on the sides. That's impossible, but they'll be hidden anyway.
Right.
And then the back, I'll match just because I can't.
Look how
help
long
it.
this is. Yeah.
But you know, sometimes if I'm short on fabric, I won't match in the back because that
You'll never
shows.
see it. Yeah. And
Right.
and tell us what's possible and what's not possible, because I think that's hard.
Well, now as I'm matching the top,
Uh-huh.
it's not going to match perfectly on the bottom. I'm going to try, but it's not going to, it's going to continue. This one happens to work
Yeah. This pattern
just because
almost seems forgiving because it has a few colors.
it does, although if you really notice it, if it's off even a little bit.
Right. So for the
So-
really anal retentive, this would not be a good one to do.
Right.
Okay.
Unless you have a workroom that's going to make sure that it matches perfectly.
Perfectly. Okay.
So it's a little more work.
Yes.
It's a slower process.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I'll staple to keep it in place.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then take
Instead
my
of
staples
pins?
out later. Yep, it holds because I want to put so many in.
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Now, this client was very nice and decided that she would, this is going to get corded. We're going to put the cording on the diagonal.
On a bias.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't have to match pattern with the cording too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do.
Well,
That takes even longer.
personally, I love bias welting because it goes around the corners better.
Certainly does.
So, I mean, to me, that's the right way to do it.
Right. Right.
Do you get a lot of people that don't want
I
that?
do it both ways.
Okay.
You know, actually, with a straight cushion, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay.
With anything curvy,
Yeah.
the bias is easier.
Okay.
You know, it's
It behaves. It's like, yeah, it's like
It does what
trained.
it's supposed to.
Yeah. All right. And then just because people are all different levels, I wanted to show this is the bolt of fabric that you get here. So it's usually 54 inches long.
This one happened to be 56.
56,
nice.
yeah.
Yep,
So you get a
it's
little
upholstery
extra.
fabric.
And the edge is called a salvage. So this is the back of the fabric, which is sometimes hard to tell the difference between the front and the back. And then here's the front of the fabric. And you've got this little salvage so that it doesn't just fray and go away at the end.
And lots of times the salvage will be knit either looser or tighter. So I will generally cut that off.
Yeah, I bet.
Especially with draperies.
Uh-huh.
If you fold it in, sometimes it pulls up on the side edges or whatever. So
Okay.
I'll cut that off. Also, this fabric is meant for upholstery and it's meant to be railroaded. That means it's going all the way across. I was able to cut my cushions out lengthwise with no seams.
Yes, that's an important thing to do. And I get them both confused. I am dyslexic. So I'm like, which one's the railroaded? And in most upholstery catalogs, they have like a little image, and I have to go, oh yeah, okay, so the roll goes out like this versus the roll goes out like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So they call it up the bolt if it's meant to be used sideways.
Yep.
Or railroaded if it's meant to be used lengthwise. So think railroad tracks.
Yeah. It's hard though. to keep remember all these facts, all the little things.
A lot of upholstery fabrics are meant to be railroaded.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's easier with them.
Right, because otherwise you have to seam it somewhere.
And then it means more pattern matching.
Yes, and you know, you're always going to notice a seam.
You know, the seam will split also as you're sitting on it.
Oh,
so,
it's the weak part.
It's a lot of use.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why lots of times you'll see double stitching.
Okay.
Where there are seams in upholstery.
Okay. All right. So you want to show us some of the other things?
Sure.
And
Here's
okay.
a harness board.
All right.
Now this one was up the bolt. I did have to seam it.
Okay.
So
wow, I don't see it.
Oh,
so
good.
it's done very well.
Thank you.
Oh, I see it now. Now I had to really look. Okay. So there's the seam.
Yep.
Because it's longer than 54.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have two.
And you have your return here for everybody in this is called a return. This goes back to the wall. So it's one of those things that you have to tell your drapery workroom, I want a 6-inch return because we have a big ass, wood blind underneath. Yeah. Or it can go real tight and be 3 because we don't have anything underneath it and this is all we're doing. So this is one of those places I think people mess up.
Absolutely. And lots of times I end up redoing for other workrooms.
Because the return didn't come out right?
Right.
Oops.
Yeah. So I put 2 seams in this. I centered
our
fabric.
Uh-huh.
And I had to put a seam on each end.
Got it.
I would never just put one seam. I'll always center.
Yes, yeah. This fabric really kind of hides really well too, and I think some do that more friendlier than others.
Absolutely.
So, okay. Anything you want to tell us about lining, or?
Well, now I'll use blackout lining and Roman shades. I have a Roman shade behind you.
Okay.
This is not a working Roman shade.
I'm going to back up so you can see.
This is just a mock Roman. I make it exactly the same as a regular Roman. It's got ribs in it. I've got orbs on the back to adjust it because I'm not quite sure how long the client is going to want it to be.
Yeah.
The only difference is there's no lift.
There's no lifting. Okay.
This happens to be a casement fabric. It's sheer. She did not want sheer, but she liked the fabric. And so I put just a regular lining behind it. So it's you're going to see the fabric nicely. We'll get some light.
Okay, they're telling me they can't hear you as well. I think when I walk further away. All right, project, lady.
Where did you not hear from?
Yeah.
Okay, so that just made me realize people are watching.
Robin's new to live. We're getting her past it.
So this has a regular lining behind it. We're going to get light filtering. We're not going to get blackout, but there is going to be a roller shade behind this that they will use on the window for blackout. Not
Is
really.
is it bedroom?
Yes, it's a
Oh,
bedroom.
okay.
So this is one of the small windows sort of into an alcove.
Mm-hmm.
The other larger windows we're putting drapery,
Okay.
which will be real pretty, and they'll still have roller shades as well.
Why did they choose to do that rather than have this lined with blackout?
She wanted the option. She didn't want to make it totally black.
Okay.
They've been living with nothing,
Oh,
and they're happy that way. They don't really
yeah.
need light control as much as they need a little privacy when they're changing.
I gotcha.
So
Okay.
that's what they opted to
Yeah.
do. And she didn't want to black out behind the casement. She still wanted some light filtering.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's it.
Yeah, because another option would have been to use the blackout lining. And Robin has a whole rack of the linings here, which she can explain, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so here, let me move our cushions. I'll start at the bottom.
Okay.
I always put the heavy ones on the bottom because I made this rack myself. So,
Very handy, girl.
yep. So this is blackout, and it has a stiffer hand than any of the other linings. It tends not to hold a crease really well. It's not real swaggable, so I tend not to use that if I'm doing swags or anything that has a swoop to it.
Yeah.
But I will use it anytime that I'm doing something boxed because it eliminates shadows. So if I have box pleats or well, even a valance
With a little scallop on the end?
scallop
Yeah.
or something like that.
Okay.
I don't want to see all my seams. It
Oh.
eliminates all the seams.
Okay. Good
So,
trick.
lots of times I'll use
And what makes it blackout?
it has 3 layers. So there's sort of a rubbery layer. There's a middle layer that is
Sandwiched in between?
Sandwiched in between. And then sort of a fuzzy layer on the other side.
Okay.
And there's no right or wrong which side is the right side
Okay,
put
to have,
out.
yeah.
I tend to put the white or lighter side in because it doesn't influence the fabric
Color,
colors.
okay.
And I tend to like the ivory, that pale ivory on the outside because it's not like a stark white in your window.
Gotcha. Okay.
I very rarely use a bright white fabric or lining unless I have a bright white background.
Is that why it looks like you have so many different kinds? Because they're different whites?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, we know that as designers with paint. So here it is with lining.
Right. So next I have interlining, and that I will put between the lining and the face fabric. And the reason for that is it gives it just a nice lush feel. I just installed draperies yesterday. It was a very, very thin polyester, almost see-through.
Oh, wow.
But once I put the interlining in and the lining, it looked like $1 million, even though it wasn't. So
Gotcha.
then my go-to lining is a sateen. This one happens
Not
to
super white, more of a cream.
It's a pale ivory.
Yeah, pale ivory. Okay.
Yeah. And this one too, same thing. This is a little bit lighter. This is, it has sort of an interlining.
Oh, it's got a fuzzy on the
one
back.
side, and just
Cotton
regular
on
lining.
one. So
Yeah.
this is like in between the super fuzzy, where both sides are fuzzy on your interlining, and one
Right.
side fuzzy and one side cotton here.
So this I would use alone if maybe the interlining and lining together were not in the client's budget. Or
Oh.
I'll line my pillows with this.
So this is kind of a cost savings.
Yes.
So you get more of
So
that
you're still getting
luscious
a little
drapey
oomph.
neatness,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
I never
And
heard of that.
sometimes if there's a little heavier fabric that you don't want to add more weight to it, I'll use this.
Okay. What if we spec this? What's it called?
My mind is blank.
Okay, sorry. That happens on live. The words go away.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll know it after we get off.
Okay. Well,
And then you can
we'll
put it in
post it.
notes.
We'll make it. We'll make a
Okay.
comment. Yep. All right.
So this is width and a half
Oh.
lining. So I'm avoiding
Seams.
if I'm
Okay. Because
using
it's
that.
not as wide.
Right. Well, it's folded in half.
Oh, it's folded in half. Oh, that's why. Oh,
Yeah.
because it looks shorter.
Right.
Oh. Okay.
So it's 80 inches,
Uh-huh.
which is a width and a half. So if
Oh.
I'm doing draperies, I
Okay.
avoid having to sew a seam.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then this is this one double wide. One of these. Oh, up the top is double wide. So
Okay.
if I have two widths,
Uh-huh.
you can see I'm almost done
Yeah.
with that one.
And this one, yeah, because here's the.
There's the fold.
Yep. Okay.
And then these two I think are just ends of bolts that are hanging around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. What else do we have hanging over here?
Oh, just samples that I can show the designers of different pleats. That
Oh, okay. So what's been the most popular?
Euro pleats
Uh-huh.
or just regular pinch pleated draperies. There's one designer that I work with. We do what I call pinch in the back pleats.
Uh-huh.
It almost gives a ripple fold effect.
Pretty. Mm-hmm.
And it's just a little half-inch seam in the back
Mm-hmm.
that the pin sticks into, and it's very forgiving. You can either scrunch them up if you want just a little bit of space taken up, or spread them out.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we have some people watching, so thank you everyone for watching. Elle says, a reminder to post what the interlining combo is called. And then Kelly Chitty says,
Sateen.
she just, yeah, exactly. Exactly, it came back. All right. Yes. Teamwork. Yes. So, you want to show us anything else in here, or
Messes?
messes? Okay. So then, how about some real talk?
Sure.
Okay. Why don't we have a seat and we'll. Okay. So,
Okay.
get comfortable.
Do
we have-
want to sit in my chair?
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
So.
I'll sit here by my machine.
Okay, so we're gonna come over here. So this is what is it, like an attic room that you have?
It's a room up over the garage. It used
So
to be a
down
playground.
here. So this
Pool
is a
table was
working.
up here.
Okay, but this is a working space, and you have like just enough room because every time I'm here, you have like 4 projects going on. So, and then the sewing machine's back against this wall. So, yep. Oh, you know what? We are in so much the darkness. Sorry, bad idea. Coming back out. All right. Okay. Don't worry. Oh, that's better.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can turn lights on you over here.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, guys. We're figuring it out. Oh, and these are buckrams, right?
Oh, yeah.
Over here.
Yeah.
So these keep
They go
like
in
shapes.
The top of the draperies.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is my go-to. It's an iron-on 4-inch buckram that I use
Mhm.
most of the time.
Yep. And I worked at a workroom, so I kind of know some stuff. Tell everyone what that's for.
So this will go in the top of your drapery. There are 2 methods, basic methods. There's a low bulk method where this lies on top. The face fabric is folded under. The face fabric folds across this way.
Mhm.
The lining comes up and folds,
So you never see it.
so you never
Yeah,
see it.
got it.
Well, you don't see it in either one.
Uh-huh.
The other way is a double fold, where the lining comes up, over, and up. And I tend to use that one more. It gives a little more heft to the
Mhm.
top of the drapery. It tends to hold it, in my opinion, a little bit
Right.
easier. But again, if someone sends me an upholstery fabric that they want me to make
Mhm.
draperies out of, I'm going to go to a low bulk method. Easier on your fingers when you're sewing those pleats in.
Yeah, and I bet this behaves better too because it's got like backing and
This has a
stuff
backing,
where
yeah.
where if it's a cotton you know, it
something
might not.
squiggly.
Wow, I've never seen some of these. That's
so
interesting
that's
too.
A sheer buckram. I'll use it in shears.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
This
Yeah.
one is not my favorite. It comes from Rolly,
Uh-huh.
and you can see how springy it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold its shape, so I'll only use it in certain circumstances.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And these are to kind of make the drapery behave in the shape that you want it to do.
It holds the pleats.
Yes, fighting against gravity.
Yes, always.
Always. Damn
That's
gravity.
our mission. So up above here,
Oh, look at that.
My bolt of batting.
Oh, wow. You are really utilizing every inch here.
Yeah, I have to stand on the table.
Yes, Robin's tiny.
But I just give it a yank.
Uh-huh.
And so that goes in between the foam and the cushion
Uh-huh.
and the face fabric.
If I'm not correct, batting?
Batting.
Batting, yeah. Okay.
Well, sometimes they call it Dacron, but
Oh, okay. Right. I always think of Dacron as the stuff you put, like the,
fluffy stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
But it's all polyester.
It's, okay.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was what people should include in their work orders and why that's so important.
As much information as possible. If you have a picture to include, that helps a lot. I need to know if a cornice board is going between two walls, because lots of times I'll add a little bit to my cornice board so that I have room for my return. I always add 1.5 inches at least, because my board is 3/4 of an inch on each side.
Right.
So if it's going between two, say, cabinets in a kitchen.
Yes, which we had.
Yes. So in that instance, I don't think that I put a return on at all.
Oh.
I think that I
just kind of,
right.
yeah, we had to kind of fake it because it was literally, it was the window above a sink in a kitchen where it was, you know, going from cabinet to cabinet. So, yeah.
So no, and the window came right up to the cabinet, and there was a little cutout, remember?
Yeah, the moldings and, yeah, kitchens are tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the one over the sink.
Yeah.
It's probably common.
But we made it work.
We did.
It's
yep.
still up.
Robin's very good. She also installs, whereas a lot of workrooms, you have a separate installer.
Right.
Yeah.
I like installing. I can problem solve on the job.
Yes.
And not only that, it just gives me control of when it gets installed. I don't have to wait for an installer to
come pick up. Yeah.
And I like to see my babies and play.
Yes, and Robin has also said it's all about the hug at the end.
Yes, always. The check first.
The check and the hug. Oh, yes. All right. So I wanted to, yeah.
They want on. I want
on a yeah.
With draperies, you know, how far are we installing from the ceiling? If you're just giving me ceiling to floor measurements, what type of rods are we using? I just went to a job, and they had gotten the rods from Crate and Barrel, I think, but I had intended to install 3 inches down, and the bracket had a little thing that went on the wall, and then it had to go up 3 inches to slide down. Fortunately, it made the bracket for the rod at 3 inches, so it worked for me. But if that part that held the rod was down in the middle of the bracket instead of up at the top, I would have been 2 inches or so too long.
Good Lord.
1.5 inches too long.
And how would you even know that? Like, did you get the hardware?
I didn't get the hardware.
You probably arrive at the job like I do.
Right.
I have the hardware as the designer. You've got the window treatments, and then let's install this.
So lots of times I do have the hardware sent to me.
Okay.
Or at least a picture of what the bracket is going to look like. So I know.
Right.
How long to
because the details make a difference. It's not someone being a pain in the neck. They need to know because they want to make it right.
Right. So,
and yeah, absolutely.
The designer gives me a specific finished length.
Right.
And, you know, she's already spec'd the hardware. Then, you know, I like it if the hardware comes here.
Yes, that makes sense.
And sometimes they're sending me hardware that a cornice is going to go over. So I need to know, again, how how big to make that return.
Yes.
And I also need to know the return for draperies. What's the projection of the bracket?
Okay.
So that I can get the return on
All
the
right.
draperies.
So everyone who's afraid of window treatments, this is freaking them out right now. So
I'm sorry.
it's okay. So do you help your designers who?
Always.
Okay. How do you do that? Explain that.
I think by asking questions,
Okay.
and it makes them say, okay, here's my bracket. You know, this is what I need. If they're not giving me information, I'm always asking.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they're trying to spec hardware, for instance, they'll say, how long of a pole shall I get? Well, I can cut any rod.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to know whether it's wood or metal. If I'm cutting it
Right.
on the job, I need to bring the right thing with me.
I would imagine a 1-inch pole versus a 3-inch pole is going to make a difference as well.
Make a huge difference as far as the drop and the length of the draperies. If I'm compensating for,
Right.
You know, lots of times we'll have a little wiggle room.
Uh-huh.
And it's not so specific. It's
Yeah.
within an inch or so, and
Right.
and it works.
Yeah.
But
You can
better to know
install it a little higher if it's this. You can
Yes.
install it a little lower if it's that. There's a little more give versus a kitchen. You're not.
The cabinets.
Nope. Nope.
Yep.
So
every now and then you'll get to a job with a cornice board, and all of a sudden there's a bookcase there.
oh,
You know, right next to the window. It's
Uh-huh.
like, uh-oh.
you didn't know that.
Right.
Yeah.
So things like that are helpful.
Okay. So you were telling me when we were prepping for this that there are some designers who give you too many details.
Yes. I have one designer that, and she wants to know what stitch length I'm using.
Okay.
No, you know,
It's okay. It's okay. We're not naming names, but
you know, she just is so controlling.
okay.
You know, and I understand.
Does that help?
Size
I get that.
Want,
Yeah, but does it avoid problems when they give you too much information?
Sometimes, and sometimes it just gives me angst.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
but
really
I would
no such thing as too much info.
Okay. Yeah.
Honestly.
That's what I was gonna say. But you
I don't
probably
need to know what kind of chair is going in the room if I'm not making a pillow for it.
Okay.
So, you know, to me, it's just
Okay.
wasting time for me.
Okay. I
don't
gotcha.
need to know
The whole
picture.
story.
Just tell me my part.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But
And then I have other designers who are so loosey-goosey that I'll get fabric in that I didn't know was coming.
oh,
No side mark.
yeah.
I have to call or text.
Right.
Just got this. You know, I always send a picture, make sure it's the right thing.
Mhm.
And what are we doing with it?
Right.
So-
Because yeah.
Oh, panels. Okay. How long?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I hear this from a lot of workrooms. It's a pet peeve I have. Here, I'm gonna flip around for a sec. Just switch it up a little bit. Okay. So one of the things that I am trying to get designers to do is to be a more buttoned up professional about your paperwork and being on time and stuff like that. And I think as artists and creatives, we think we have the license to be a little flaky, and that might be true to a point, but you're covering your butt and your profit when you give the workroom more information. There was a time where I don't know if it was our job or I was working with another. I've worked with a few workrooms over the years, and I spec'd a scalloped bottom window treatment valance, and what was installed that day that it was getting installed was straight. And
not me.
it wasn't you. Okay. So thankfully I'm very thorough in what I write up, and I give a picture or a drawing.
Always a drawing.
always
You
a-
always give a drawing.
Because that's what
With
I do for the
measurements.
what I
That's so helpful.
Yeah, it's what I do for the client, because how are you going to sell it to the client? Oh, just use your imagination. That could lead to problems with the client. So with the workroom, if I have the measurements and I have the the drawing, I can then say, well, no, honey, you made that wrong, so it's now on you to fix it. It's not in my pocketbook to fix it. It has to get fixed, and it's in writing. See, right here. So it's covering your butt to make sure you have all those details, and not just like some random couple of texts. That doesn't help anyone.
Right.
How you can't keep track of information that way.
Right. It needs to be a change order if it's written on a purchase order, which I prefer.
Writing. Have it in writing.
Please.
Everyone cover your butt.
Yes.
You want to make profit, right? We're not doing this for fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And Heather is really good at paying. But send half up front.
Oh, yeah.
At least.
Right.
And then, when the job is installed, pay the other half. I have some designers I'm begging for my money, and
That's
it
not
feels
okay.
really bad.
Yes. We hate when our clients do this to us. Don't do that to your workroom. They get paid. Everyone gets paid. And you shouldn't be doing a job for a client if you haven't gotten paid. You get paid, then you do the job, then you order the materials, then you give it to your workroom. You don't do that stuff beforehand because wishful thinking is how you can get into big trouble. Okay, so Kelly says, great info. You guys are rock stars. And that's awesome. And so Heather Bates says, my workroom prefers to come out and measure themselves because they also install. Yeah, I love that. And
I do a lot of my own measures.
Yes, yeah. And there have been a couple of times where I'm a little bit more comfortable with it because I worked for a workroom for a short time, but still, I'm dyslexic. I want another set of eyes on that. So Robin, in certain cases like that difficult window, I said, you better come look at this because I don't even know how to describe what's happening with the molding and this detail and stuff. So so a lot of workrooms will go with you, and sometimes they charge for that, you know, like an extra $50. So what? Add it to the cost. Get it done right. All right, I think we've taken enough time.
I do
so,
too. This was easier than I thought.
All right, see? That's what it is. You guys, anyone who...
Here I am.
Yeah, I have to shrink down. It's okay. So anyone who's afraid of Facebook Live, seriously, put your lipstick on, smile and go. Press the button, and that's it. You're done. So thank you to everyone who tuned in. I will be saving this so you can watch later. Hope it was helpful to everyone, and thank you to Robin.
Thank you, Heather.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Okay.